discussions held on this program are intended for informational and debate purposes. The opinions voiced by our guests are their own and do not represent the views of Ingoma Television. We encourage our viewers to engage critically and form their own informed perspectives on the topics discussed.
Hello and a good afternoon to you all, to our viewers. Good afternoon to everybody watching, wherever you're watching us from. You're watching Open Mic Conversations with me, CHANDA KAELA, here on Ingoma TV channel 109. All right, so we've been having conversations around leadership, conversations around the polls on the 13th of August 2026. And Open Mic Conversation, this is a show that bridges the gap between leadership and the general public. So on today's episode, we have something quite exciting, something catchy, where we have one of the aspiring presidential candidates right here in the studio. We're going to be diving deep into conversations bordering around the challenges that the people of Zambia are facing. This is not just a conversation based on the people of Chilanga or based on the people of Lusaka, but the people of Zambia. So once we go on this short break, I'll be introducing my special guest on this platform. Stay tuned and keep watching. Welcome back. You're still watching Ingoma TV channel 109, and we are having a conversation bordering around the Zambian people today. All right, and we have Mr. Ackim Anthony Njobvu, who is the current president of the Democratic Union of Zambia, right here in the studio. Welcome, Mr. Ackim, and thank you very much for coming through.
Thank you so much, Chanda, and greetings to our viewers out there. I hope you're having a good day this far.
All right, amazing. So there's certain people that know you for a different tone, a different conversation. There are people that are watching you as a father, others are watching you as a brother. So today we want to know Mr. Ackim beyond politics.
Thank you so much. So like you have heard, I'm Ackim Anthony Njobvu. I'm the president of the Democratic Union, a political party which has been in existence now for 3 years, and one of the parties participating in this year's general election. So we are hopeful that after the program, you make up your minds to vote for the Democratic Union because of what we're presenting to the Zambian people in terms of the vision and the interventions that we have that we want to put in place so that the issues that the Zambians are facing can be resolved. So I am Ackim Anthony Njobvu. I was born in Livingstone. I grew up in Livingstone, where I did my primary school at Zambezi Primary School, and moved to Chipata after I lost my mother, and did my secondary school at Hillside Day Secondary School, where I completed. And then thereafter, I joined the Air Force as an aircraft maintenance and repair technician, and also became a flight engineer in the Air Force before I left to go in the private sector. So I studied the SCCA whilst in the Air Force, and after completing, I decided to go on early retirement. So I left the Air Force and joined the private sector as an internal auditor at my mobile banking company called Selpay, where I worked only for 6 months. Thereafter, I joined Mayfair, where I worked as a company secretary stroke the finance manager. Then I also left after working for them for 6 years, and I joined MASH as the chief financial officer until 2025, when I left now to concentrate on the calling that is in politics to serve the Zambian people. So in terms of my qualification, I'm an aviation engineer. I'm also a chartered accountant. I'm a fellow of SCCA and a fellow of Zika. I'm also an economist. I'm a senior member of the Economic Association of Zambia. I'm also a chartered global investment analyst of the CGI of the US, and also an insurance practitioner of the Chartered Insurance Institute of UK. So those are my qualifications. So we set up the Democratic Union so that we could bring about a new era of politics in Zambia, one which prioritizes integrity, transparency, and accountability, and also to make sure that the Democratic Union was the fresh alternative to the existing political landscape. As you are aware, politics in Zambia has been characterized by insults and character assassination. So we want to change the type of politics that we have in this country, so that we can invite a lot of young people to get interested in leadership, and also the women, So this has been our desire. But above all, we want to make sure that opportunities are available for everyone, regardless of tribe or region where one comes from. But also we are looking forward to build what we are calling a new Zambia through a transformative process. So our desire is that we are given an opportunity for a fresh start as a country. We want to present new ideas coupled with innovation and also put Zambians first. We believe Zambia is at a place where we need a reset, politically, economically, socially, and spiritually. So the Democratic Union and myself present that alternative that the Zambians have been waiting for. We've got quite a lot for you, the Zambian people, as you continue to listen to this program.
Right. So that's pretty much interesting. That is one man wearing a lot of caps. Interesting much, because we now know that you have been part of ZAF. And then for some people that do not even know who Anthony Njobvu is or who Mr. Ackim Anthony Njobvu is, he has given us a preamble of what he has been doing, where he's coming from, and where he is headed to. All right. On the 13th of August, 2026, we're going to be having our general elections. All right. And we'll be electing our own leader. So he is here to give us some of the things that he feels why we should put him into power. All right. So why do you think, Mr. Ackim, that for a viewer out there who does not know you, why do you feel that you are the best candidate to be in such a seat?
Thank you so much. So if you are to look at the interventions that we have as a Democratic Union, they directly address the challenges that the citizens are facing. I've told you that I believe I'm that alternative, the best candidate for this year's election because of the vision that I have. For me, what vision do we have? We have a vision to build a new Zambia. How are we going to build this new Zambia? So we are a transformative political party, and what we believe and what we bring on board is transformation. We are coming to set up what we are calling strategic operations in agriculture, in mining, in engineering and construction, as well as technology and innovation. And also we are coming to set up what we are calling the capital economic zone. And then we are also going to introduce a new ministry called the Ministry of Strategic Operations, where we expect all the brains of this country, the thinkers, the brains, the good brains that we have in our country to be in that ministry. So when we set up these strategic operations, what we are trying to achieve is, first of all, create employment opportunities for the young people. The young people have struggled a lot to find employment opportunity. So we are committing to creating about 4 million jobs. So once we create these 4 million jobs, then we should be able to create that opportunity for the young people. Then secondly, we want to make sure that the natural resources that we have, we convert them into government revenue, so that then government has got adequate resources to provide empowerment to the youths, those who are not ready to work, and also the women who want to engage in business. This is our desire. Then ultimately, we are looking at addressing challenges such as the debt that the country has. We need to start paying it. I don't believe in debt restructuring. I believe in us paying back the debt. But we also have got a number of projects that we need to engage in terms of infrastructure development. So we, as the Democratic Union, are creating this strategic operation so that we can address these challenges. So in the agriculture sector, we are going to establish public commercial farms in all the districts of the country so that then we have food sufficiency. Our desire is that everyone who engages in agriculture, the agriculture operations should be treated as a business. When you engage in agriculture, we want you to treat that as a business. So what are we saying? We are going to liberalize the agriculture sector so that you, Chanda, if you engage in agriculture, you grow your maize or any other crop, you should be able to sell it at a profit. This is what we're looking forward to. Agriculture is a very complex business. You can engage in agriculture business and find yourself that you haven't made a profit. So we want you to calculate your cost very well. Then you sell. If you're selling to FRIO, you make a profit, you can sell to FRIO. If selling outside the country, you can make a profit, you do that. We are going to be giving you the floor price hopefully by 30th March, because by then we would have got an estimate of the amount that you were able, on average, an ordinary farmer would have put in to produce a bag of maize, a 50 kg bag of maize. So when we give you the floor price, it will be a benchmark. Then you have to decide whether you are going to sell to government or you are going to sell to the the private sector, so that then you make a profit. We want you to be encouraged to continue to engage in farming because it's a business. Everyone goes into business to make money. So that's what we want. But we are going to introduce these farms for the primary purpose of ensuring national food security. Then secondary, we would also want to start exporting, especially our staple maize. You know that there's always a market for maize. Malawi is always in need of our maize. Tanzania, Zimbabwe, Rwanda, Kenya are always looking for our maize. So we want to make sure that we don't put ZNS officers in the borders, but you take the opportunity and be able to export our maize and get that forex that we want in the country. So this is our plan for agriculture. We are also going to engage the prison service to ensure that we upscale their farming activities in all the 10 provinces. And we are going to allow them then to release those low-level offenders, the prisoners with low-level offenders, not the core criminals. The low-level offenders, 90 days before expiry of their term, we ask them to release them. They go to work on the farms for 60 days. Then after 60 days, the 30 days they give them to go scot-free. So this is the plan that we have under the Democratic Union.
Okay, just to cut you short, I hear some of the plans that you have for the people. So there are certain people that are out there and are wondering to say, we have politicians, you know, we've dubbed politicians as politics is a dirty game.
Yes.
That was your preamble.
Yes.
People have dubbed politics as a dirty game. People lie. There's so many people out there that have felt like every time we employ a new leader, especially because when you are president, or rather when you're aspiring as a presidential candidate, you come to the people, and then when you are put into power, things definitely change. For the people, you now become Nimwebeni. Yeah.
Yes.
So now there's somebody out there who's trying to understand, to say, Mr. Anthony, he's spoken about different things.
Yes.
What is the main thing, and how should that person who is out there believe that genuinely when you're into power, you won't change?
Thank you so much. That's a very good question. I've been telling people that, you see, the challenges that politicians face is that there are two types of politicians. There are those who come up with a political party and with a vision, and there are those who chance it. If you look back in Zambia's history, we have had what we call accidental presidents.
Yeah.
Yes, accidental presidents, because there are people who just chanced it, say this is an opportunity, grabs it and becomes the president. Such ones don't have visions. Even if they tell you, you find that they will do something different. But what is key is that when we set up a political party, there's something that has been inspired to me, and I have it in my heart. That's why you see I'm able to explain my manifesto just the way I am here, not reading anyway.
Exactly.
And most of the president, what happens is that some of them who chance these vehicles, they hire experts to write for them a manifesto. Exactly. It doesn't belong to them.
Exactly. And what I wanted to ask you.
Yes, it doesn't belong to them. When they go to State House, they have nothing. They've got that document which was written by experts. You don't own it. Something that you don't own, you can't execute. So when you go to State House there, then you start doing your own things. Okay. You start thinking, what am I supposed to do here? Because you see, when you go to State House, actually what happens is that you're somehow ring-fenced. Sometimes the people that you meet there are different, are not the ones you've been working with. Yes, so you have to have the vision in your heart, you have to have the vision in your mind to be able to implement it.
But
so this is the
Mr. Anthony,
challenge.
we're talking about people. We talk about, let us go back to the previous elections that we had. We heard people getting promised so many things, just even about now. We're hearing so many promises. In the back elections, we heard that, Milimi was going to come down. So do you mean those were accidental politics? Because we're looking at our friends in the UPND government. They've been aspiring for that seat for quite a long time. So do you feel that that was an accident, or maybe? Yes,
for me it's still an accident. If you look at the UPND, the party, who was the vision bearer? It was Anderson Mazoka.
Okay.
And then when you remember those times when there were elections, it was Sejan who said, no, we need a Tonga president. So they looked for a Tonga president, not that they looked for a man with a vision. Okay. They looked for a Tonga president.
But again, before you finish, let me hold your thought. Before you finish that, we'll just go on a very short break, and then once we're back, I would love to listen to what you have to say. But for now, we go on a very short break. sorry to cut you short. We are back and we are here with Mr. Ackim Anthony Njobvu, who is an aspiring presidential candidate and is the president for the Democratic Union, all right? So we're here talking about different things that are affecting the Zambian community, the Zambians at large. And the conversation that we were having before this break was a conversation bordered around the promises that these politicians come and make to us, the general public, and then they fail to commit. Yes. And then before I cut Mr. Ackim short, he was talking about accidental politics. I would love you to continue with your thoughts.
Thank you so much. So like I was saying that we've been having in the past what we call accidental presidents. If you remember the last time Dr. Isiom is not even resting. Yeah, he actually acknowledged that I don't have a vision, but I'll be able to continue where Michael Chidfiasata said. So which means he had an opportunity that he never foresaw coming. Yeah. But we believe, of course, God gives the opportunity. So what we are saying is that sometimes presidents chance opportunities and they become president. You find that he had no vision to be able to implement, and then you give them the opportunity. We are talking about the UPND, their promises and all that. I told you that the UPND, the vision carrier was Anderson Mazoka. He set up the party. If you read UPND, United Party for National Development, he wanted to unite the Zambians. I'm sure he wanted to continue on the path that KK left us on, to be a united nation, and then also bring about the national development. That was his desire. So sometimes you'd see the intentions in the party name. So that's what he wanted to do. Then when the time he died, unfortunately, you heard what Wasejan who said, we want a Tonga president. They didn't say, we want somebody with a vision. They said, we want a Tonga president. They had to find a Tonga president and put him there. So which means maybe this person didn't even have a vision for the country. Remember, he was a businessman, was doing just his business. Then you brought him to be president. So maybe he didn't have a vision for the country. So he had to find something to tell you. So that's how he made those promises, so that you could actually vote for him. But the sad part is that we never had the presidential debates like we had. We had a presidential debate yesterday where we were asked, these things that you are saying, how are you going to implement them? Exactly. You never had an opportunity to ask him, how are you going to do that? That's why you've seen certain presidents have shied away from this presidential debate. The sad thing is that it's a clear message to the Zambians that certain candidates feel that Zambians don't vote on idea-based issues. They don't like issues that are idea-based. You just love the noise. The noise, there's chimwela, then you vote. This is what they think about you. In short, they're still saying you're still illiterate. Because if I feel that we are going to engage in a very good debate, idea-based, I must face you, the people. So that you ask me a question. If I say the dollar will drop by 14 hours, you need to ask me, Ackim, how? What are you going to do? Yeah. Yes, this is the engagements that we want. But you never had the opportunity to ask, to say, how are you going to do these things? So that's where the gap was. So when we make these promises, you must ask me, Ackim, how? So the how I respond, if you are convinced, then you vote for me. If you're not convinced, then you want to vote for me. So these are the engagements. But overall, the president must have a vision. The vision must be in his heart, must be in his mind, so that when he goes to State House, he's going to implement what he has, what has been inspired to him. But if you hire experts to write for you, experts will do their research, they will give you what they think is in their heart. You do not own it. You need to own something as a president for you to implement it. I can assure you that if I force you to study a course that you do not like, definitely you will fail. But if you pursue something that you love so much, you'll be able to succeed. So these are the differences that are there. It's not about president or personalities changing, no. It's about them not owning that manifesto. It's about them not owning what they are telling you. They had an expert who gave them something to go and explain to the people. Okay. There's what you remember, there was something that became so famous during Arabi's election at image builders, those who came from Israel. So what did they give him? What did they do to him? He's got this identity, he's got this vision, but somebody came now to build him, to give him something that he does not own. Then you have somebody who is fake. You give them something they can't deliver because that's not who they are. Yes.
All right, that is pretty much interesting. And then today on the Zambia Daily Mail, they released something that was coming from the Deputy General Secretary of UPND,
yes,
who is Gertrude Imenda. She is saying that UPND has attained 90% of the promises that they made. Do you believe UPND has achieved the 90% that they're talking about? Because in this press briefing, she said that opposition parties are just speaking because they're speaking at a point of hate. Do you believe that the 90% has been achieved?
Okay, first of all, we are not speaking from a point of hate. I'm not hate, I'm new, that's why we want to come and change the politics. Yes, there have been insults. You heard what the president said in Mazabuk about Gary. That was very unfortunate. So that's the type of politics that we want to come and change. So in terms of UPND's achievement, most voters who go and vote based on the experience they've had, I can tell you, I can give you my analysis, but I'm sure at the time you're going to vote based on the experience that you've had in the last 4 years. That's what is going to inform you. Not about what Ackim is saying, maybe you may buy the vision, but because you're also considering UPND to continue or not, you're going to say, the past 4 years, how have I lived under UPND? Then you're going to decide whether you want them to continue or not. If you decide they are not going to continue, then you look at my vision. I believe that's a right way to choose leaders. But talking about their performance, they have done their best, but their best is not good enough. We can still talk about, you asked me about the promises. They made promises that by 14 hours the dollar would drop. They promised, the biggest mistake they also made was to promise on minimum.
Yeah.
They should have found a way of telling the Zambian people the truth. If you have heard me, I've never told you that you're going to buy millimil at this price. What I've told you is that we're going to set up commercial farms in all the provinces. What do we want to do? We want to make sure that maize, our staple maize, is available in abundance. When it's available in abundance, then obviously the price is going to come down. This is what we desire to do. And when I say we're going to liberalize the agriculture sector, I know that when the maize is in abundance, the price will be very low. So you are doing private farming, then the FRA price may not be attractive for you. What do you need to do? You need to export your maize so that then you make a profit. So the performance of the UPND, I think, is still something very debatable, even if they are saying they've achieved 90%. We're talking about millimil. Most of the people, the ordinary citizen, who always speak about the price of millimil. Where is it? Is it at 50 kwacha like they promised? No. Is the dollar, has it dropped below where they found it? No. So all these are issues that I think people want to connect to the promises and based on performance. They have achieved in achieving great economic indicators. We can't take it away from them. But are the ordinary citizen in Chilanga interested in the economic indicators? Economic indicators are for people like myself. Yes, but not for the ordinary citizen. The ordinary citizen, what do they want? They want to find medicine when they go to the hospital. Is there progress in that area? No. When they go to school, they want quality education. Is there quality education? Still debatable. Yes, we've got free education. Is the price of minimum 50 kwacha? Is the cost of living affordable? It's not. Those are the issues that the ordinary citizen will be looking at. And most of the voters, the majority of voters, are those citizens who look at the basic issues. We can talk about economic indicators, where I'm sure that's what she was driving at. And yes, the inflation has come down. Yes, we can talk about these other things, but the price of fuel hasn't come down. The price of minimum hasn't come down. So it hasn't really impacted on the ordinary citizen. So if we have to talk about performance of the UPND, it is about the impact to the life of the ordinary citizen. I think they haven't scored success. Yes, they have scored success in restoring the health of the economy. With economic indicators speak something, but the feeling, the impact on the ground is also different. But I should also not forget that there was load shedding for 4 years. There are a lot of businesses closed. Those who had started businesses, their businesses were impacted. Do you think they will vote for them? They will not. So those are issues that they need to talk about. It's not about hatred. It's about ideas. That's why we would have loved that the president comes for the presidential debate so that we debate these issues. He gives also the Zambians assurances. A mistake that they are still making today is that they are not pointing at performance. performance, they are still making promises. 5 years, you still want to make promises. Why don't you point at performance? The things that we have achieved as a party. I think this used to have been the best way of them campaigning.
Okay,
yes.
So one of the issues that has been talked about, like one of the issues that has been criticized is the issue of reserves.
Yes.
We've been talking about reserves for a long time. People are complaining to say, why do we have enough money in the reserves, but there's no money on the ground? And then Ms. Imenda today confirmed that the reason for them prioritizing this is because it is a good way to go about it. What is your point of view when it comes to national reserves?
All right, thank you so much. It's a good thing that every country should have adequate reserves. It's good. It's some form of security. Yes, that's what I can say. I can do in simple terms.
Okay.
But I must also give you details, Chanda. A lot of people haven't been given the details about these reserves. Do you know what is making up these reserves? So these reserves are made up of 52% of that 6.2 billion is US dollars. US dollars, and then also there's about 21%, which is what we call special drawing lines from IMF.
Yeah.
You remember that time we had COVID? Yeah, IMF gave us coupons, what we call, you remember the time KK kwenzima coupons? Yeah, so IMF gave us coupons. So what happens with those coupons is that they give you coupons, they give you like a coupon, but if you use that coupon, you start paying interest on the money that you have drawn. So it's not like real asset that we have in the 1.3 billion.
Yeah.
So the actual, maybe the real reserves that we can talk about right now are around 5 billion. But again, there's a problem there. Only about the last time the Bank of Zambia gave a report to the Zambian public, they said we only have 300 million of gold that they have in reserves. So the issue is that if you look at the way other countries conduct themselves, do you know that the US is the one which prints the dollars?
Yeah.
Do you want me to tell you what their reserves are?
What are their reserves?
So 82% of the US reserves is gold.
Yeah.
They don't trust their own dollar. They print it.
Yeah.
But you Zambians have got 5 billion US dollars. Do you think it's the right thing?
Right.
Chanda, do you think it's the right thing?
Well,
so that's a mistake. So I'll give you an example. Italy is number 3 in the world in terms of gold reserves. They've got gold reserves of $400 billion. They don't produce gold. Yeah. Zambia produces gold, and we have got less than 1%, but the updated records are showing that it's now at 500 million. So we are not doing the good things as we have portrayed to the public. Yes, we have that money, but we are not too secure. If the US today decides, you know, they're asking for 80 billion to continue the war with Iraq, with Iran, if they print more, there will be inflation, and what happens to our value of the dollars? It goes down. It's affected. So we inherit the inflation in the US, which means our value here deteriorates. So the issue is that yes, we should be proud, but we are not prudent. Italy, America, gold, foreign reserves, 85% is in gold. Germany, which is the second, 85% is in gold. Italy, 82% is in gold. Zambia, 1% is in gold. So there's still a lot of work that we need to do. What we need to do at the moment is actually, you need to understand geopolitics, things the way they have been happening around the world. There's a lot of conflict around the world. If you look at China, Russia lost about $22 billion in foreign reserves. So when you've got also foreign reserves in other countries, there's also a risk. The good practice and what we want to come and do as Democratic Union is that we are going to buy gold. We are going to make sure that maybe 50% of our reserves are in gold, and we're going to keep it in Zambia so that the risk of being frozen is also reduced. At the moment, our gold reserves are in London. We need to bring those gold reserves in the country. So yes, the amount is okay, but it's not the full 6.5 billion. 21% of those reserves are what we call SDRs, which is not actually cash. And then part of the way we built those reserves, part of it, of course, is money from the mines. When the dollars come in, the Bank of Zambia keeps them. But also remember that we we didn't pay our debt from 2020. We
restructured
yes.
debt.
Yes, now the restructured debt.
Yeah.
We defaulted. So through those defaults, we are not paying the dollars that we are supposed to pay. So we kept on building our reserves. So those are the reasons that you have to understand. You also have to understand them in a technical way.
Okay.
It's about prudence on how you make up these things. But the sad thing is that the US, the printer of dollars, is keeping 85% of their foreign reserves, not in the US dollars, but in gold. But us, we are keeping our reserves in US dollars. So it shows that there's a problem with us. Yes, if the person who prints the dollars doesn't trust the dollar and he puts it in gold,
right.
but you want to trust the dollar.
Yeah.
So that means there's a problem. We need to change the way we think and the way we do things.
All right.
So yes, the reserves are there. If you talk about why are we suffering when we've got those reserves, reserves are basically meant for security in times of emergencies. They are also used for imports, to paying for imports. So that's what we use them. For your day activities, you must still continue to produce to survive. That's why we make a budget which is funded not by the reserves, but by the taxes that you collect from or other sources of revenue, non-tax revenue that the government collects. So government must find better ways of increasing production to make sure that the taxes grow, other sources of non-tax revenue grow, so that it continues to provide the services that it needs to provide, to be able maybe also to be able to provide, say, subsidies. But of course, most of the time subsidies come from reserves. So government should have made a bold decision. If you look at maybe the price of millimil, which has been a high for most of the citizens, they should have gotten something from the reserves and subsidize our millimil. This is what they should have done.
All right, that is pretty much interesting. I'm getting to know more about what is going on when it comes to jurors and how reserves are done. Very much big thank you to you. But there's also one of the issues that has been grappling when it comes to politics. One of the issues is corruption.
Yes.
All right. In terms of good governance, we're trying by all means to swear away from corruption, but corruption has been something that each and every time in each and every political party that we put in place, we always find issues of corruption. How do you, as Mr. Ackim, plan on ensuring that we do not see more of, because nowadays people don't even trust political parties or political leaders because of their behavior. Every time you put somebody into power, you see them ensuring or securing so many houses, so many vehicles. Lima Tower bus station. One political candidate has got over 15 cars. So how are you as a president going to ensure that when you are elected into power, this is not the bone of contention and people are not suffering from the same fate that they've been suffering from?
Thank you so much. In our manifesto,
if you can speak vernacular, I would love for somebody out there who's listening.
Manifesto yatu, one of the core values yamenetiri nayo.
Even if you're saying down.
So manifesto yatu ya Democratic Union, on our core values, there's one statement that we've made, or value that we have. We've said we want to be accountable both to God and to man. So for me, it's a very serious statement to be accountable to God. So you can't go for the purpose of just wanting to enrich yourself and mislead the people. There's God whom I've committed a commitment that I want to be accountable to you. So that is the first thing. Okay, if you're Nachiralanda, tulefu kuba accountable kulidesa. So when Gatwapanga such a statement, I think here wako serious. It's not an easy statement. There's no political party that has made that statement. Atulefa kuba accountable kulidesa na kulimwe abantu. For me, that's a big statement. It starts, and corruption must start from me first of all, as the president. I must demonstrate. If I'm not corrupt, if I don't steal, it will be very difficult for the other guys to steal. But the moment I start stealing, they start seeing the deals that I'm doing, everyone will follow suit, and it will be very difficult for me to control. But how do we want to fight corruption? It's very sad that corruption, like you've said, it's been just perfected, and eating in the phobes, that needs to assemble okuba corrupt before the country develops. It's a bad parasite, corruption. I had a first-hand experience of corruption, Chanda. Iya time kwali barabi naisa kuchipata, that's where aba fiyashi baba. So after naenda kuchipata kuja napeza bachama township roads. After 3 months I went back, kisasa ngama township roads yali yonaika. So I felt bad. I was touched.
Yeah.
A third road, 3 months.
3
is
months
gone.
and it's gone.
Yes, I knew that this is now what corruption is. I've been hearing people talk about corruption. I never paid attention.
Exactly.
But that day I paid corruption. It hit me so hard. So I wouldn't want that. Now, if you look at these roads, people's lives are being lost.
Exactly.
I'm a strong Christian. I don't want to be doing things where people's lives will be lost because of my carelessness, because I got money. Sometimes, in our lives, we experience things that are unexplainable.
Yeah.
Because you've been unfair, you've been treating people unfair. If you haven't to land at karma, yes. So you have to find a way of paying. But what we want to do to fight corruption is, first of all, we need to build systems in our country. That's the first step we are going to take as Democratic Union, what we call smart systems. Iringi corruption, ibela pa ku procurement. Iringi nga muleshta amatenda nefinshi. If our systems are smart, if you are smart, a system should be able to make a decision.
Exactly.
Ngatsipanga decision system, as long as there's human intervention, chanda angenapo panga decision, ndipe kunkala corruption, because he was often to the favor in because uniziva. Yes. So we want systems that can make a decision. Ngatbabantu bachita bid. System ya bachita analyze once amino bachita bid, then yachita award that uyundia mena bachita qualify. System yeka bachita intervene. But the other sad thing, Chanda, is that kulaba ama procurement committees. Now we show our procurement committees. Papini Papaneo, Kulabama officers from OP, Kulabama officers from Zambia Police, Kulabama officers from DEC, Kulabama officers from all these security agencies. Of course, I'm not a soldiers, but corruption still exists. So which means it's an issue of character. It's more an issue of character. It's not even about these other things. The people have become so corrupt. Because I don't think that panel, all of them were there. How do they come up with decisions that the public later on comes to question? So corruption, if we fight through, first of all, building a system so that systems can decide and award a person. Then secondly, uku kwatama institutions, I have a independent. So my institutions are independent, where there's no political interference. Yes, yakweba tichanda na bwera tichanda indo mgwiro uyu some gwiro sachanda. That is very bad. We want independence, that the institutions that are independent. But chanda, these institutions are run by professionals who are very qualified. But the problem is favor a politician because court. Then we recover more than 20 million, 25% to be given to you. So that we encourage a lot of people to be reporting. When civil servant to allow kupela na lateral transfer. If you feel threatened, you want a transfer to another ministry, to another department, or to another province, you are free as long as it's lateral, wachita maintain you in a position. So that we encourage a lot of people to report corruption. This is what we want. Recently I was touched, I saw a clip, is it on ZNBC? The Department of Labor and the other institutions went to Makeni to inspect one of the companies. And when they reached there, the owner of the company started threatening them. He said, I'm going to call your boss. And they called the boss. That's how those guys were withdrawn. So what did that person tell the boss? What did he give to the boss? And then we are quiet as citizens. And you know that a lot of Zambians are suffering even in the private sector. I know I'm one person who has been making commitments for the civil servants. I've even told them, the civil servants, that I'm going to give you a 10,000 salary increase in January. But what are we saying about the maids? What are we saying about the guards? What are we saying about other people in the private sector? A lot of people, I think, they are living under very difficult circumstances, conditions. Because the problem now is that when they go to the labor office, their bosses are able to bribe the labor officers, or maybe speak to the boss, then they cause the junior officers to come back. How are we going to ensure that we've got systems that are credible, that when you get a job, Chanda, it's sustainable, you get what you deserve according to the law, or what you agree with your employer. So these are things that we need to look at, but we cannot do all these things if we are corrupt. Sometimes the corruption is just lumped on the politicians, but maybe even you citizens are also corrupt. You see, where you own a company, instead of doing the right thing, you corrupt the Commission of Labor so that your employees continue to live in bad conditions. All these are things that we need to talk about. The sad thing is that we've only focused on the politicians. So me as as Ackim, by the way, I've got a military background. I feel there's also lack of discipline and patriotism in our country. We are betraying this country, not only as politicians, but everyone else. We don't want to develop. That's why we are very corrupt. Even our attitude, our mind is also corrupt. We need to change our posture as a country so that then we give this country what it develops. When the country develops, we also develop. When the country gets better, we also get better. Imagine we have got good roads in our communities where we stay. We find that even the cost that we're going to use on servicing our cars will reduce. Exactly. The shocks will stay longer than how frequent we change them right now. So corruption is a very bad vice. Like I've told you, last time Nenda Kuchipata had the very first-hand experience here, corruption, and I felt sad. So we need leaders. I do still think that maybe the young people and also maybe the women, let's work together to ensure
that's the point that I wanted to get to.
How
do you include the women? Because I've seen your running mate is a female.
Yes.
So now we have a female running mate as well as you who is a man. How do you ensure that there's balance between the men and the women as well as the youths? So we're reaching the climax of our conversation. So I'd like you to tackle the youths as well as the women out there who are watching, as well as include the people of disabilities. What vision do you have for these people?
Thank you so much.
Don't just want a vision that's going to be on paper or a ChatGPT manifesto.
Yes.
We want something that is going to come from your heart and it's going to be ensured that it's straight up and it's something that the people will understand.
Thank you so much. So if you look at our manifesto, it's a manifesto of interventions. That's why it's different from other political parties. The ChatGPT ones that about, like you've seen even the songs.
Yeah.
Yes. Then you're excited. Now
so
you'll be excited with songs, you'll be excited because of teddy bears, especially you the women. You love teddy bears. So I'm sure maybe HH might get votes from the women because of teddy bears. So let me even look straight into the camera right now, because what you've asked me is a very important question. So first I must start by addressing the issue of people with disabilities. Chanda, efetule fire, what we want as Democratic Union. That time I was young when KK was in president. But what I know is that he had the telephone operators, blind people. We need to find jobs specifically for the blind people. If you apply, you are not differently abled, we can't give you that job. We need to identify jobs. Yes, technology has changed, things have changed, but we need to find specific jobs for the differently abled. Chanda, our friends face a lot of challenges. When we opened applications for people to stand, we gave 10% of the seats to the differently abled. No one applied. No one applied. So are we going to leave them? No. So chamene group chakuti bafun konkana opportunities na we different airport. So what we are going to do, specific jobs assigned for them, maybe even empowerment, we need a certain percentage given to them. Like I've been saying that I want to have an empowerment fund. We want to move it from CDF to CEC. We want specifically for the youth. When
we say CEC and CDF,
Citizen Empowerment Commission. Why do we want to take it to CEC? CDF has failed to manage that portion of empowerment because they don't have the systems. They don't even know how to collect if it's a loan. Because there's a difference between a grant is given, you never pay it back, but there's a loan. CDF has been struggling in terms of that. So what we want is CEC has got the proper systems. What we want is that we want also to raise the responsible citizen. When you are given the capital, you manage it. Not that you eat it. If the business fails, it fails. The CC can get involved and see that it failed. Then they can do nothing. But we want somebody with systems and the experience to be able to do that. So that's why we want to take it to CC. So that from CDF, it goes to CC, the people access it. But we need specifically for the youths and also for the differently abled. But then addressing the issue of the youths, Nizalangana straight to camera. The youths, we want you to get involved. I am a young leader. And I understand the challenges that many are facing with my youths in Misepela. So I understand the challenges you face. Of course, the first thing is leadership opportunity. Second thing, employment opportunity. Third thing, empowerment opportunity. It's not there. So in addressing the issue of leadership, here I'm representing you. 60%, 70% of the population are youth. So I am here representing you and I carry your burdens. When I become president, I have your burdens. There's nothing like asking a youth, calling the youth, my problems, I have them. So in addressing that, we want all district commissioners to be youths so that they are present at the table where resources are being shared. I'll talk about the Chiefdom Development Fund, what we are going to introduce. So my youths was ankala pa table by where resources are being allocated to different areas of need in the government. Then secondly, there are ministerial positions like youth and sports minister, I want a youth. Science and technology, I want a youth. Somebody who's going to generate ideas. Somebody encouraged to generate my ideas in the science and technology minister. One is,
it was quite unfortunate. There was a conversion that we attended, and then there was they were talking about things such as artificial intelligence, and then there wasn't a youth who was on the platform.
You see,
it was an older lady, and then you can imagine we had like different people that were coming from different aspects of life, but this woman did not even understand what AI was, and she was on the panel. So when we're talking about bringing the youths on board, I feel like that is one of the things that leaders should really look into.
Exactly. So with us, first we give you leadership positions, district commissioners, all 116 districts, district commissioners, Minister of Sport, Minister of Science and Technology, a youth. We know the artist, my politician. But could never promise advance zero. But with us, we said, we are creating a fund which we are calling the Chiefdom Development Fund. So what will happen is there's a percentage that will be going to the Youth Provincial Office. So we want that fund, part of that money, to be used to build academies and other recreation facilities. And I hope in that same money, they will do Lusaka Playhouse so that it looks better. So that my artists can also have a place where they can practice. We also want to help them with collaboration. Imagine you collaborate your maps na Beyonce. How many people would want to come and watch them in the country? The tourism sector will benefit from that collaboration. These are the things that we need to come and promote as young people. We need to come and think and do things differently. Exactly. So for me, this is very important. So this is about the young people. Then in terms of addressing the issue of employment for the young people, we are coming to create 4 million jobs because of these strategic operations that we are creating and the new ministry. We are creating industry, public companies in agriculture, mining, engineering and construction, as well as technology and innovation, so that then the young people can have employment opportunities. Then through the National Resources Corporation, we are going to convert our natural resource into government revenue so that we have funds for empowerment. In CDF right now, the 40 million, there's only 8 million that is meant for empowerment. So us would love to increase it to 100 million so that a lot of young people and women can access that. Then talking about the women, we want all provincial ministers to be women. We want all provincial ministers to be women. Then we also want to promote women participation in the private sector. So when a company has got a boss, a managing director, a woman, a finance director, a woman, will be giving them a 2% tax relief on the profit, so that we encourage a lot of women to be in leaders. Because by women, corruption is less. This is why we want to promote women leadership in the country. Then technology and innovation, my vision is that we build a Zambia that is going to start exporting solutions to the outside world. And that means that I need to invest a lot in the youth, in the young people. Like we've been talking about AI, technology and innovation. I'm very particular about technology and innovation. I need to invest in a lot of young people. China's success stories because they invested in the young people. When you invest in the young people, they will bring up a lot of solutions that we're going to use in the country. And those solutions, we begin to export them. This is what we desire to do.
All right, that is pretty much an exciting and an amazing conversation that we've had. We've tackled a lot of issues. We've tackled the issue of debt restructuring, where we had Mr. Ackim saying that he does not believe in the fact that we're supposed to push debts to another person to inherit your debts. They would rather sort out their debts. We've also had issues about youth employment. We've heard issues about women and also people with disabilities. They're going to be given a chance. All right, so Mr. Ackim, just in the next 1 minute, I want you to give your last words to every person out there who is watching. Maybe voters, they've lost hope, they've lost trust in the politicians, they've lost trust in the elections. Why didn't they vote? Because I want you to give a word to that one person who's watching Ingoma TV right now.
Thank you so much. So, Mwena Zambia, Zambia, nimipe mpani kuti munivotere ne Ackim Anthony Njobvu pauchi under Democratic Union on 13th August 2026. Ine nimishtan promise a fresh start. I've got great ideas that I want to come and together work with you and develop this country. We are going to put Zambians first. I'm promising a reset because country yatu ilipapoint pajapameti funika reset. Reset economically, politically, socially, as well as spiritually. This country needs a reset. So that tiambe mufuti. Chinangu chameni fulani kuuze ni chakuti next president azankala 8th president. Number 8 meaning a new beginning. So new beginning in kuyamba chipia. So nkuyamba mofuti. So kuyamba mofuti nkuyusing abantu banyowani bajamine swana swenzeko kudala ndiye kuyamba kwa nyowani. Isestenze ko tabwera manje but ngati muyusing abja bakudala, it's not a new beginning. It is a continuation in the issues like you have been right now. Last time nabana chita post na kambati two things will happen on the 13th of August. Either you're going to usher me to bring a new beginning or you're going to continue on my birth pains, where you continue like a woman in labor. It's either she delivers or she continues with those pains. So if you continue with where we are today, you are continuing with the labor pains. But if we give birth on the 13th, we have to give birth to something new, that is voting for the Democratic Union. So nikupe mpani mwema Zambians, especially mwema losing our hope in voting, that me, I'm new and I'm different. I'm not coming with lies like others have done. I'm coming with honesty and integrity. I'm a former soldier. We believe in honesty and being disciplined. I can't just come here and lie. I'm also a charismatic. I'm a Catholic, a strong believer in Christianity. Therefore, I'm asking for your vote so that tukasebenzele pamozi. Inesinika but I'm coming to fix, but nina my ideas, nina my solutions. Yametufunko sebenzela pamozi. In a position yanga ngati tonse sebenzele pamozi. Tukasebenzela pamozi tizaleta chitukuko. It's not about Ackim fixing anything, no, but it's about us working together. Nina my ideas, na mimi nina my good ideas. Tisebenzele pamozi tipulete chitukuko pa ziko latu zikomo. So nikuyembekeza vote yanu pa 13th August 2026.
All right, so you've been watching Open Mic Conversation with me, CHANDA KAELA, and we just have one of the pictures of Mr. Ackim while he was still in service, and it is something quite exciting. All right, so you've been watching Open Mic Conversation, a show that bridges the gap between leadership and the general republic. We got to talk about some of the issues that the people of Zambia are facing, such as the cost of living. We talked about the mining sector, we talked about the health sector, we also talked about the youth, we've talked about agriculture, we've talked about so many things on this conversation. So this is us now leaving the vote up to you, the people of Zambia, because you alone know who you want to vote for and who the right candidate should be. So keep watching Ingoma TV. Thank you so much to our lovely viewers who've stayed tuned and kept us on to this star. So keep watching and stay tuned. Have a good afternoon. Thank you so much, Mr. Ackim, for coming through, and we are grateful.
Thank you so much, and you're welcome.
Voting is one of the few moments where we all have a voice.
One person, one vote.
No titles, no status.
Just a choice.
It's not about doing nothing.
It's about showing up.
Because your vote matters.
It's easy.
It's important.
It's ours.
Count me in.
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 Count me in.